Hello and welcome everyone to OSMO Drone. I'm Greg. I'm Spike.
Let's try that
How are
again.
you, folks?
Welcome to Oz by Drone. I can't hear the audio here at the moment. We had a bit of a problem, but it's gone away now.
Yep.
Welcome,
G'day,
everyone. So welcome to Oz by Drone. Spike is joining us as co-host today. He's our incredible fill-in co-host. John, unfortunately, is unavailable today, so Spike is stepping into the chair.
Yep. It's good to be here as well. Thank you very much, Greg, and everybody coming along in the chat, all those that are watching and all those that are going to watch down the track.
Absolutely.
Great to be here. The world is turning.
In advance, before we get too far into the show, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Telstra, who absolutely provide the best internet in the country, and you'll hear it later on when Spike drops out. He's been dropping in and out. Nothing we can do about it. Just letting you know in advance. But let's get into the show. What have you been doing this week, Spike? What have you been up to?
Oh, my friend, I have been so busy, head down, bum up with learning, I guess, the editing programs. But I've edited up a new playlist. It's a small mini series. It was a local country show not too far from here. I thought of taking the drone, but
and there it goes, the first time. Always predictable, Telstra. He'll be back. There he is, the mini series you've been editing, and
I'm back again. Boo. Boo. but basically, in a nutshell, it was a great day. I filmed a lot with my phone. I've edited up 6 videos so far. There's about another 6 more to go, and I will put the link in the chat shortly. Brilliant sort of people that I met, great interviews, some really interesting things, slightly diversifying from droning, but down the track, these very people that I met, I'm actually going to hook up with them again, take my drone and down to the drag strip and get Drone Girl, who travels nearly 300 kilometers an hour in her drag car, get some drone shots of her. Another guy with a V8 trike. That was bloody awesome, that one. And I'll be filming him with the drone as well. So there is future drone connection. But that's what I've been up to, Greg. Yep. Editing.
And myself this week, obviously, I was on Ken's show recently, and that was fun as fill-in co-host for Ken. That was a laugh a minute, and I had a bit of fun, almost dueling sound effects with me having a piano in front of me.
Yeah, I heard that. Liberace you did or something.
Had a bit of fun.
I'm yet to see it, yeah.
I had a bit of fun. Also, some really, really good news. You may have heard on Ken's show that the Spark that we sent off to Young 360, I had the wrong address on the label. That was totally my fault. But despite that, it's arrived and Young has received it. So that's some really good news.
Oh, brilliant. Where is Young? She's in
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Yeah, excellent. So we've done America, Australia, now Hong Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Spark is going all around the world. But before we do anything else, let's get into
the news. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
You're doing great sound effects there, Spike. So starting out at the very beginning, we've got someone who's gone to jail. Let's play the video and I'll talk over the top of that one. So a Swiss tourist has been accused of accidentally flying a drone into a midtown Manhattan office tower, and that person has been arrested.
Yes.
Police say that Paolo Presetti went back to the building on Monday to try and retrieve the drone and to pay for damage, and found himself, after trying to pay for the damage, in custody after police were called.
Hey? Doing the right thing, and then something like that happens.
Well, is he doing the right thing, or does he just want his drone back?
Yeah, well, true. I guess I would.
I mean, let me ask you this. How much do you think it's going to cost to repair the damage of a building that high up in the middle of nowhere, where you've got to get people down in a crane and all of that kind of stuff?
It's
very expensive.
What drone did he have? What was it again?
I didn't see a drone, but looking at the size of the hole on the side of the building, it's definitely not a big drone. Let's just wait for it.
I guess that also being New York and with terrorists and this and that, you can understand that it's not really an overreaction, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
So our second story today is almost the same as the first one. We've got someone else going to jail. Not to want to be outdone, Canada, a man becomes the first person convicted under the criminal code for unsafe drone use. His name, Taufik Chamas, He was
Yep.
convicted for illegal drone flying. Let's put his picture on the screen.
What's
He was
happening
fined
there?
$3,000 and sentenced to 5 days in jail.
Oh,
And
shivers.
but on a good note, he's already had time served, but he also isn't allowed to drive for 2 years.
So a droning issue, and yeah, he's lost his driver's license.
Yeah, yeah.
It's things like these, though, as you're reporting.
And there goes our friend Spike. He'll be back shortly, I'm sure. While we're waiting for him to come back, let's have a look at the next story. So the next one we've got is a story out of China. The Yangqing district is going to build Beijing's first drone theme town. The core area of the town is located in hang on, let's see if I can get this. Zhongguankun Yangqing Park.
Yeah, you're
With a
doing
planned
okay.
area of 10 hectares, the whole industrial chain of UAV, including R&D testing and demonstration applications, will be deployed to provide technological support to the Beijing Expo. We don't have any video or photos other than I just put the Chinese flag up there, but it's really good that they're going and building that. But just like Canada didn't want to be outdone in the previous story.
Yeah. Here we
Guess
go.
what? Guess
There's
what?
more. There's more.
Let's put the next story up. So Canada again, sky's the limit as Calgary opens a testing area for drones and new technology. Now the interesting thing
Traffic
here,
advisory for South Calgary. Please be
Oops.
advised of unmanned aerial vehicle activity surface.
we'll play that in a second. But the interesting thing here is that the Calgary location is 50 hectares, so it's 5 times bigger than China. So, Canada, which was a country that was, had very restrictive drone laws, they were pretty famous for that, but they're now definitely embracing it with the opening of that drone park. Let's have a look at the story.
Yeah, that's good.
Traffic advisory for South Calgary. Please be advised of unmanned aerial vehicle activity surface to 400 feet above ground level. Approximately 6.
Today we were helping Mr. Nenchi fly his first EBX, and the first one went a little bit south, but he got it. He got it on the second one.
It's okay.
So you have to keep that aircraft completely horizontal when you shake it, and then you have to turn it at a 45 and let it go. But it normally needs to fly into the wind, and we were trying to fly it away from the wind. So when it got the tailwind, it just hit it. And it doesn't like that.
There is a massive demand for folks to come out.
So some experimental aircraft there, and they're having fun with that. I don't know that particular wing configuration, but
to organizations such as ourselves allows us to test our use cases in an urban environment. So if I want to do drone deliveries,
we'll have our guest come in and we'll ask him a little bit later if he happens to know what that particular aircraft configuration is. Good information there out of Canada. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. They had a bit of a crane thing there.
Yeah, so moving on from there, we're going to...
The next one.
We've got a hydrogen-powered aircraft, which I think is way, way, way cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's just have a look.
It's a bit like Ken's. Would you ride that, eh? I'll ride it. It's
Yeah.
a bit small. Hydrogen. Hey, look at this. That's like old school or almost steampunk with the 21st century.
I'll just down a little bit, and certainly I don't know how that's working in particular, but just reading the story over here. Experimental liquid hydrogen storage propulsion systems for drone. Contemporary manufacturers, small UAVs and drones mostly use electric engines. Application of these propulsion systems need elaborating on efficient and light electric energy sources. They're used at present mainly 2 methods of onboard energy storing. First is obviously First is usage of possibly efficient batteries. I didn't type that very well when I was originally typing it up before, but interesting propulsion system, something a little bit different.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Oh, it's huge. This technology is fantastic. Spaceships are not far away.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we have an interesting gimbal system, and this one is
4D gravity drone comes with impressive stabilization.
Yeah, let's watch that.
Yeah, move over GoPro.
So certainly, look, an interesting look there. I mean, it's like a dangling thing hanging down and providing gravity, and they call it a 4D gravity drone.
Yeah, right.
So from what I can see there, they've got the camera mounted halfway down this pendulum, and the pendulum is doing, automated gimbal capability without having to worry about the motors in there, as best brilliant. I can tell.
It must be like a sort of an access thing stuck in the middle of the drone itself. And I was just watching it fly around there. That's fantastic. Really, really good. It's like someone jammed a gimbal through the center of a drone.
Well, they basically have. Okay, we've got a couple more stories. I want to talk about this one. So fake research. Now, everyone's been looking at the this particular video, and this is with a drone going through an aircraft wing. Let's just quickly play the video.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, look at that.
So this video, it's look, there's just so many things wrong with it. For a start, the drone is flying faster than you would normally have for that particular type of aircraft wing to hit that drone. Second thing is the wing is sitting still. Now, when you have a wing flying through air, you've got air forces that are going over and under the wing that's going to actually make the drone resist hitting that wing. Sure, it still has a possibility of doing it, but it's just so wrong. And here's the interesting thing. DJI have actually demanded that the university take that down. They've done a takedown notice effectively to the university, claiming that, and quite rightly so, that their research is,
flawed. It's not right, because it's not the correct conditions, true conditions, and it's
not reality, and it's it's just producing panic and paranoia. I mean, realistically, if you got a bag of water with the same weight as the drone and you shot the bag of water at the wing, it's going to have the same effect.
Yeah, probably do it very similar, yes.
But in reality, like I said, in the air with the actual wing, you've got air forces that are going to make that particular thing have so little of a chance to actually hit it. But it is what it is.
Right.
Moving on.
If it was a Mavic Pro, it would have flown straight through and gone straight out the other side and kept flying.
Of course it would.
Yeah.
How much damage did the plane wing do to the drone? That's the question I want to answer. Okay, and there goes Spike again. So we've got two more stories that I want to have a look at. The first one is the DJI Airworks announcement for the Frontiers. Now, obviously, DJI is getting into the enterprise space, and if we just have a look through a couple of these photos. So people may have seen this photo. This is believed to be an attachment sitting on top of the Mavic Enterprise drone. They've deliberately made it darker to make it hard to see. This is a photo of the actual inside of the back of the aircraft from the Drone DJ website. Really good website.
Okay,
and the FCC label.
Yep.
And there it is in the air. So there's been a lot of these photos leaked and going around. We got one more. And here it is, this one looking like a bit of a speaker on the back of the aircraft. And people have been saying, what are we actually going to use this thing for?
Yeah, well, that's like, I think Rick from Drone Valley did a brilliant video recently on that enterprise specific. I think I saw it last night, and I think it's like more for the emergency services, those sorts of people. as Rick said, that technology trickles down to us, the domestic market.
Yep.
But it's more for the emergency services and such the like. I think something like that.
Let's do something different, a little bit out of order. We're going to bring in our guest. So we've got Ed Ricker coming. How you doing, Ed?
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody?
It's really good.
Yeah,
Thanks for inviting me to this.
Thanks for being part of the show. Look, I'd just like to ask you, what have you heard about the DJI announcements, and what do you think's coming?
Not a whole lot. I don't know much about what we're looking at either. You know, it looks like a loudspeaker. The other one looks like it might be a super bright light for maybe night flying or something, but it's all speculation at this point. Hard to know for sure until we all know with the announcement.
The one thing that everyone's kind of been talking about is the fact that whatever it is, it's an interchangeable payload on top of the aircraft. And I think that's a really, really smart way of going for DJI in the enterprise space.
Well, wouldn't it be awesome, though, if that was able to be put on a regular Mavic 2 body? Because, you know, that's kind of already one of our complaints about the Mavic 2 Pro versus Zoom is, you know, why can't we switch the cameras out ourselves? Why do we have to ship this in? And it looks just like a Mavic 2. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the motors are more powerful to accommodate the payload. What are your thoughts on that? Why wouldn't it be the same body?
It probably could be the same body, but it's, you know, hasn't been necessarily tested or rated to that. It looks to be the same aircraft as far as I'm concerned, though.
Yeah, definitely.
But realistically, if you're selling to the enterprise market, what do you want to do? You want to sell it for a higher price. So DJI, from a marketing perspective, you have to admit they've been pretty good. They're differentiating based on price. They're having us talk about this thing right now, and we're doing a great marketing job for DJI.
You know, one thing someone said in the comments, Drone Shots says low frequency mic, not a speaker. That'd be interesting if it was completely different from what we're thinking. Not a speaker, but rather a sound capture device.
Possible, but it'd be interesting to try and capture the audio and filter out the sound of the props and the motors on the aircraft at the same time.
That's why he said low frequency mic. I don't know. It's really
possible.
Hard to say.
It's possible, but certainly my take is something to be used in surf rescue. Something that's going to be a siren that you can potentially throw out.
You know how they have, I can't remember what it's called, those speakers that riot police use? I know maybe it wouldn't be loud enough for a riot, but that'd be really cool to have a mobile aerial speaker to use riots. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll come back and we'll chat to you more in a couple of minutes, Ed. We're just going to go to our last story of the day. And this one is about Russia and a US attack on Russia, according to this story. And let me get it up on my screen here because it's a big, long one. So Russia has blamed the US for a mass drone attack against its Syrian airbase, claiming that its navy used a surveillance plane to coordinate the strike. First, Russia blamed the French for shooting down one of its surveillance planes earlier this year, then the Israelis, and now it's accusing the US of coordinating a drone attack by Syrian rebels. They said that a flight of 13 drones had attempted to attack Russia's Kemen base in Syria.
It looks more like a plane than a drone.
Yeah, so this is the actual device that they captured. Just put it on the screen again for me one time. This is one of the devices that they supposedly captured. Now, that looks very hobbyist to me, but certainly upper-end hobbyist. This doesn't look to be something that would be US military. Ed, you're an American. Can you imagine your guys flying this thing around?
It'd be hard to imagine. It looks interesting, though. I don't know.
That thing, that one wing that was on before, Ed, what was that about? Do you know more about that one?
That they call, I don't know what the exact term is, but they call them wings, the hobbyists who fly them. And it's another sport, drone flying sport, with competitions and people who are really serious about it. I actually have a video I posted, I think, almost maybe 6 months ago on my YouTube channel. I was flying with a wing pilot, and they just do some really, really awesome maneuvers and that type of thing. I don't know if at some point you want me to pull it up or not, Greg. It's up to you, but just letting you know that there is some content I made with a wing.
Okay. Look, well, we may have a chance to have a look at that. But before we do anything, let's formally say, welcome, Ed, as our guest. I pressed the wrong button. Here's a bigger one. Let's be more bold. There we go.
Oh, yes. Guest. That's awesome. Ed Ricker. Yes. I like that. I like your graphics. I like your animations.
Yeah, I have a bit of fun with it.
Producer's doing a great job.
She's doing the switching. I'm doing the titles over here.
Oh, okay.
It's all good.
You're
anyway,
both doing a great job.
Look, Ed, I wanted to have you on. Certainly, you've got background and experience across photography, drones, and across more recently the acro and the racing and that kind of thing. What made you decide to change? How did it come about? Tell me the story. A
website called Banggood, based in China, who makes a lot of racing drone part. Well, I shouldn't say makes. Maybe they do, but they sell a lot of stuff. And I'm not sure to what extent they do one or the other. But regardless, they have an online store. They reached out to me. They said, Ed, you want to try the Eachine X220 Wizard? And this was back in November of last year. And I said, sure. Didn't know much about it. Made a video with really no knowledge. I kind of had Google right next to my camera as I was speaking about it, looking at notes, try and talk and look intelligently about what I was saying. I'm not sure if I really made that work or not. But regardless, that was my first time I tried it. And I realized I loved it so much, racing around these drones, fixing it, customizing it, putting effort into something like this where you're doing all the soldering, all the screwing, all the different, taping, zip tying. It's all stuff that I've done to this. And it becomes something that I've made and I really have pride in it. And so now that I can zoom around with it as well and fly, it really is an amazing hobby. And it's introduced me to a lot of people in Raleigh, the city that I live in, North Carolina. There's actually a substantial amount of people who fly these things, and they get together on weekends or after work on a weekday. And it's just a really good community that I've stumbled in. So I've gotten into it way more than I thought I would. Way more.
Yeah. So let's just play a video in the background as we chat. This is something that was recently posted on your channel. Let's just start that.
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
So, Ed, tell me, where is this? What happened? How did you get involved in this?
This is Barnwell, and basically, anyone could attend as a spectator, but to be a pilot, they were limiting it to a certain amount. And then they, you bought your ticket and you kind of were able to get into these areas. It's a freestyle only event. There's no racing. This is me just having fun. And up to 8 pilots could fly at one time in one area. And they had 4 different separate areas. And, we're talking 5.8 gigahertz video signal. So you can't really... You got to be careful. You got to make sure that your drone's playing well with other people. Yeah. Well, can't go too far, but also you can't step on other people's signals. You can definitely end up, crashing someone out because your feed ended up getting into their goggles because they were tuning to something weird or whatever. So, there's a little bit of preparation in order to be able to fly at one of these events. But once you can, it really is just a really awesome time. And a bunch of companies were at this event. At these different, they set up these booths, and basically if you wrecked your drone, you broke a component, you could go and buy it right there on the spot and get up in the air again. So it was really an awesome experience. I went with 3 working FPV quads. I left with 0. So I think that was a success.
How long did it take from your first Banggood quad to being able to fly like this? I was watching this stuff and, getting a little bit dizzy.
Yeah, big time.
Well, when you're flying it, I guess you don't feel quite as dizzy. I think it's kind of like when you're driving a car, you don't get as motion sick as maybe if you're in the back seat or something. If you're prone to motion sickness, it's kind of like if you're in control of it, it doesn't affect you so much. But when you're watching, maybe you would be more affected. So I would say I was doing flips by February, I would say maybe January. So maybe a month or 2 after I first got the drone. But by the time I was confident to be going around trees, which you can very easily get stuck in, It was a couple more months before I really, was brave enough to start getting around some of these things, some of these obstacles.
So only one
building,
or 2
diving,
months.
and stuff.
That's insane.
And I was going to say there's those simulators, and I think we were talking about that earlier about there are simulators that will help you practice, and that's a big part. If it's after sunset and you still want to fly, nothing's stopping you if you have a simulator.
Yeah, I've only just recently got a simulator, and that was what's it called? DRL Sim, Drone Racing League, and I've just started playing with that, and popping the balloons and all of those kind of things in the practice events. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I think the controller I got leaves a little bit to be desired. Now this, going through this container, I was looking at this earlier, absolutely loved it.
That was one of the most challenging areas because it's so confined. A lot of people were flipping around the containers and that type of thing, and maybe going in once in a while, but I only saw a couple other people manage to go up these steps all the way to the top. And I didn't do it first try, don't get me wrong. I went through probably about 20, 25 props trying to do this, repeatedly crashing. So, they're tough little drones, but at the same time, if you're running it into metal, you can't really expect a whole lot about the outcome. But luckily, I was able to get to the top, and here we go. I zoom right out, and whoop!
It's interesting.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Okay, and I think we just lost Ed. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to come back... Oh, we've lost both of them. We've lost both of our guests simultaneously. While we're waiting for them to hopefully rejoin, just to share that, a couple of weeks ago, we had some other people looking at chatting about the topic of freestyle and racing and so forth, and they measure their events by the number of bags of props that they go through. But anyway, we'll leave that there now, and what I'm going to do in the meantime is give a little direction to my producer to press the stop button next to rendezvous and the disconnect and then restart. So hopefully that'll get the guys back in, I hope. There they are, they're coming back, we've got them. It wasn't you, it was both of you, and I've never seen that happen before, so that was my end, but we got you back. Okay, look, that's awesome. Ed, we're going to come back to you on screen now. We'll leave the video there.
Okay, cool.
Let me ask you a question. So earlier before the show, we were talking about other drones, and you were talking about the Autel Evo. Tell me about some of the other interesting drones you've been playing with that you've been flying as well.
Yeah, well, here's the Autel Evo right here.
Awesome.
And I flew it for the first time today, and it's pretty cool. Here's the camera. It's fallen because it's not stabilized. If I turn it on, I wonder if I would affect my microphone, so I'm going to leave it off for now. With ultrasound emitters or whatever could possibly be in this thing. But I think it's a really great drone. It's a $999 US, which is fantastic for what it does. There are at least 2 specs that this does, that this has features that beats out the Mavic 2. One being it shoots in 4K at 60 frames per second, and the other, what is the other one, guys? I haven't made the video yet, so I can't remember. I didn't make notes.
Well, hang on.
Like, there's 2 good things about it. What's the other thing?
The fact is, the other thing, guys.
Nice color.
Oh. Yeah, the other thing is we're posting Ed's channel link in the chat. Okay, and we're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to OSBI Drone Part 2. If you're watching the replay, hopefully YouTube has stitched it together and joined the dots, but we had a temporary technical interruption. So we were talking to Ed, and there was some features associated with the drone that you were talking about, and you mentioned one. The other feature, yes. I think, rather than tell everyone what it is now, you're going to go and have to go to Ed's channel and have a look what that feature is.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't made the video yet, Greg, so they're going to be looking for a while.
Okay, share it then. What's the feature?
No, great idea. Just keep looking. It's there. No. Every one of my videos, I mention it somewhere. No, it's 94-degree field of view, guys. 94 degrees field of view. And if you like that, if a wide field of view is good, then hey, it's great. Now, some people would prefer a narrower field of view, but I think it's a benefit if that's something you're looking for already.
Okay, awesome. The other drone that was going around, I'm just trying to think. What was the other one? What was the name of that one? That was the Anafi?
Gaddafi? I don't know. Sorry.
The Anafi. Have you played with that? Is that the one we're talking about? I'm getting two names mixed up now.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I honestly, I don't know anything about it. But it looks. I'm on Amazon right now, looking it up. 4K HDR, pretty cool. But I have no idea, honestly. Looks like very similar to the Mavic in that it's foldable. It has the cell phone on the controller, so it runs off your cell phone with an app. And beyond that, I really have no idea.
That was the one that can do the filming straight up, but certainly
I can see that 180-degree vertical tilt gimbal. Very cool.
That was really, really cool. But certainly their radio range, that was the challenge with that one. But look, interesting chatting about different types of drones, but there's one other thing that we do need to do today. And if I look to my screen and I press the button and my producer gets ready to press the button on the screen, we're going to do...
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stop the Yank.
Okay.
You Greg. Telstra strikes again. Just look at some of the chat.
Not resort to Google.
No Googling allowed. And by the way, before we start, I just wanted to share that someone was commenting about the name of this segment, Stump the Yank. Yes. Just to share with people, obviously Americans think of Yankees with your north-south thing. We just put you all in the same bucket and you're all Yanks to us. But anyway... That's Australian slang to us. Some people got offended and commented, but anyway.
That I think Europeans also think that some countries in Europe. But hey, that's fine. It's whatever. Technically, I live in the South, so I would. But I am a Yank because I came from the North, so I guess I can't escape it.
Yeah, it's all good. We're just going to have some fun. So, Spike, you've got some questions for us. Let's go.
If I was to say Struth, right? If I was to say Struth, would that A, be someone putting a different spin on the truth? B, a type of meal, e.g. Struth stew or pie? C, a popular tourist destination? Or D, are you for real? Expressing being surprised. Struth.
Well, that's how you, because you're kind of being forceful with it. Truth, like if you're trying to expose something for what it truly is. It's a truth that is not really the truth. Maybe it's a pseudo truth, a struth.
Right. Okay. Well, you're sort of you're very close, and I'm going to give you a tick of approval. It is expressing surprise. So I guess my delivery gave it away there, and I could tell your analytics. Yeah. It was quite. Your acting lessons there have come through. So anyway, moving right along, as Greg would say. Question number 2. We've got 3 to go. I've got 2 to go. What does stone the flaming crows mean? Okay, stone the flaming crows. Does it mean A, to throw stones at a burning crow? B, oh my goodness, or oh my God. A semi-famous Australian film, or D, is it your shout for a round of drinks? Stone the flaming crows.
I mean, if I were to hear someone say that, it would seem to be like if you were to stub your toe really hard and you go, stone a flaming crows, so that's similar to like, oh my God, or oh my goodness, or whatever.
Yeah, Ray, we need a because you won that one. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you
Good on
go.
you,
That's
man.
my
2 out of 3. You're doing really
We
good.
got 1.5 out of 2 so far.
Yeah,
I'll give him a half for the first one.
Our adjudicator has given. Okay, righto. The third and final one here, Ed. And once again, really, such an honour to be chatting like this to you, mate.
Sure.
What does the term "dead dingoes donga" mean? Dead dingoes donga. Now, does it mean A, a well-known item or a brand of Aussie clothing? B, a piece of anatomy from a dead dingo? C, the lack of moisture within the mouth? Or D, the name of a mountain, Mount Dead Dingoes Donga?
I mean, you never know with Australia. You Aussies name your mountains pretty crazy, if I recall. I would. Okay, can you?
Yeah, sure. Quickly again. A well-known item or
just tell me what B was, because I was funny.
B. Okay, a piece of anatomy of a dead dingo.
Yeah, I loved how political that was. You're not really you're bouncing around it a little bit.
That's it.
And I really feel like that's what it is. So
Okay, well, my friend, I'm sorry, you've got that one wrong.
what is it?
What it is the lack of moisture within the mouth. I'm thirsty as a dead dingo's donga, mate. I could do with it. Beer. I'm as dry as a dead dingo's donga, Ed. Mate.
That is great. Well, okay. Well, it's a little cleaner answer. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I do appreciate it. You stumped me a little bit. What's my grade?
You got 1.5 out of 3, so you need that extra half mark to become an honorary Aussie.
I'm gonna have to. I've tried that. I have. I have been to Australia when I was 16. I had Vegemite there, and I don't recall it being horrible. At the same time, I don't think that was something I was going to be doing again
on a regular basis. Yeah, so we got 2 guests next week. We've got Onigiri, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, Onigiri, a French freestyle racing pilot, so she'll be on. But we're also inviting Stan Cook to come on. He's he won a competition recently, and we sent him some Vegemite, and he wants to share his experience with us. So that'll be a lot of fun.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Vegemite.
Yeah.
That'll make you thirsty as a dead dingo's donga, I can assure you.
Imagine.
Look, it's been fun having you, Ed. It's definitely been fun. You're welcome to stay around. In fact, if you got a couple of minutes, we're just going to have a look at some videos, kind of supplementary news stories about some things happening in Australia. You got a couple of minutes?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Excellent.
So the next section, we're going to have a look at the MIDRT, the Military International Drone Racing Tournament. So for those who are not aware, we've had international pilots come to Australia. They've been racing, and the place where they've been racing is actually in Victoria Barracks. It's the place where Australia's Army was first founded and first born. It was their initial barracks, and it's still standing there today as a historic building and set of buildings. And within that compound, that's where they had the drone racing. So I've got 2 videos. One is a brief summary, and then we're going to have a look at the finals of that event as well. So let's have a look.
Arm your quads. Live on the tone.
All good. Let's do it.
He's high side of the tower. He's right third in traffic.
When I first started doing it, they were kind of looked at me a bit weird, but when I showed them the footage and how awesome it can be, they was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool.
The competition is getting very competitive, especially internationally. Literally taking off.
Goggles down, thumbs up.
I was on my 3rd lap and I crashed and I broke a prop, so yeah. But I'm on the board.
That's drone racing?
Yeah, that's drone racing.
We've got a 5-inch quad, and that's generally the typical size that we use. But what makes FPV or first person view is the goggles that you wear. The video transmitter on the quad here actually transmits the image directly back to these goggles, and that is how you see what the drone sees.
This is a ADF recruiting initiative but I think it's wider than that. It's about recruiting into generic defence industry as well for STEM kids and getting them interested. So thanks for being a part of it.
Elvis Systems is proud to be a sponsor of the drone racing team and the first event you held here worldwide for a defence force. It must be good to see it finally in place.
It is really awesome. Victoria Barracks, Sydney is the birthplace of the Australian Army. Being able to bring the newest technology to the oldest origins of the Australian Army is a wonderful mashup of themes. The Australian Army is Australia's biggest user of drones. It is logical that Australia sees that we also do drones for fun as well.
Okay, there is a little bit more there. We'll leave that for now, but certainly interesting having a look at that.
Yeah. What was the location, Greg?
This was in Victoria Barracks in the middle of Sydney.
A bit of Aussie. Excellent.
Absolutely. And we've got one more clip from that event, and we've actually got the grand final race. So we get to see who won and certainly that flight. Let's have a look.
Yep.
Coming.
All right,
up.
Pilots.
Coming up.
This is it.
Coming right
One
along.
run and
G'day
done.
everyone in
Good
the
luck.
chat as well.
Goggles down, thumbs up.
Good to see you.
Arm your quads. Live on the tone in less than 5. Full send. 4 through it. This will be our tightest finish right now. X-Tech with that whole shot. He's going to go high side of the tower. Jenko right with him. Now we go low side of the tower. Quato and Wedge, 3rd and 4th. It'll be Quato just ahead of Wedge. But here comes your TQ. X-Tech, 1 down. Jenko hot on his heels. This is going to be a push for the end. 0.8 of a second between 1st and 2nd. Then just 0.7 of a second between 3rd and 4th. A good first lap for all 4 pilots. Now we're going to see if the nerves calm down, if the throttle picks up as we go around
Now,
that corkscrew
obviously,
section.
this is unfortunately not an Aussie commentating here.
Opened up a little bit of time for Jenko, but an 18-1 on the loose lap.
And certainly the picture is pretty small there and hard to see each of those individual frames, but you'll see that one of them's already bombed out and no longer transmitting. We've got 3 left and we're about halfway through the course at the moment. I'll let that keep playing, but Ed, have you done much racing yourself?
Not really. Nothing very organized. Every once in a while, I'll have some friends who will set up something on a field somewhere, and we'll do a little practice session or whatever. But I'm more of the freestyle type person. I'd rather be flipping around trees and being a little more experimental with the environment, as opposed to being limited to a track and a certain direction.
Yeah.
That's just one of my preferences. But I can respect it. I can appreciate the talent.
Yeah. Look, certainly an interesting event, and it's good to see that, Australia is hosting and having people from all around the world participating in that event. And, it was a lot of fun.
Definitely. Well, very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Okay. Look, thanks for coming in, Ed. I'll see you next time. We'll definitely have to have you come back when you remember maybe the 3rd feature that's in that aircraft. You know, you remembered 2 today. There must be another that you've got to share with us when you come back.
Well, I'll probably find it. I could think of 2 right now, but there might be a 3rd. We'll have to see. But it is a great competitor to the Mavic for sure, especially considering the price. So we'll see. Stay tuned for the video. Well, thank you. That was great meeting you, Spike. Thank you so much for your presence on YouTube and for supporting everyone in the comment section and all else you do and the awesome videos you make. And Greg, thank you so much for allowing me to come on and be in your awesome live stream.
And have some fun. It's all fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Okay. See you, Ed.
See ya.
Okay. So we're going to move on from that now. Next on the list, I don't have any videos or anything to share with this, but I will put this on the screen. Just a reminder that we have an OSMO mobile to give away.
Yes.
In fact, it's in the room here somewhere. Let me just get it.
Yeah, this is coming up, folks. The DJ Osmo mobile gimbal that Greg's giving away. And we're slowly creeping away. Greg's goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. Once that's achieved, of course, there's going to be some lucky winner there. And currently we're sitting at 783, Greg. So good on you, mate. It's slowly creeping up. Of course, as we all know, that YouTube we call it YouTube tax, and it goes up a little bit and it comes down a little bit. All of our channels. So yeah, it just happens. But we'll get there. And I'll hand it over to you, Greg. What is the lucky person going to win?
So this is the Osmo Mobile, and I'm just making sure the mic's up. There we go. This is going to be given away. You put your mobile phone in there and it stabilizes it really good for some footage. All you need to do is have a look at our channel page, and there's a video there telling you how to win and how to enter. It's pretty easy. You've got to comment on a video. I want to win the DJI Osmo Mobile. Make sure you do that, and I want to give this thing away. Yep. Share this with your friends, your aunt, your uncle, your neighbor. Get them all to enter so that they've got a better chance of winning and maybe you taking up the prize. So that'll be good. Spike, have you entered?
Yes, mate. I've entered and I want to win it. I really, really want to win it. But we'll just see. You got to be in it to win it. So yeah, like you say, man.
Well, don't forget to get your wife, your mother-in-law, your auntie, your uncle.
I've got the chooks. The chooks have signed up. It's all happening.
Okay. Speaking of competitions, next week I'd like to ask. I mentioned before we've got onigiri as, I hope I'm saying that right, or is it onigiri? One or the other. Yeah. French, I think giri sounds a little bit more French.
I think it was Ed's ex-girlfriend. I think.
Not that he's going to share it. But next week, my ask is to have some freestyle video submissions, and we're going to pick one as the winner next week. So that's what I'm asking you to send in. And just a reminder as well, we're going to have Stan sharing his Vegemite experience. The prize for the freestyle submissions is nothing more than a tube of Vegemite. I don't have a big budget here. We're just having fun, but we'll share with you a little bit of Australia. Yeah. So that's coming up next week.
It's excellent.
I've got one interesting discussion topic before we move on to the Australia videos, and that is there's someone who has submitted some videos to us before. He was recently, he filmed at a now closed defunct power station, and he did some really beautiful cinematic photography.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to mention his name, but he received a knock on the door from the local police.
Oh, what?
Asking him to take the video down because of problems with the Critical Infrastructure Act or some nonsense. Yep. I just wanted to share the story. Look, here's my take anyway. If you're flying, your aircraft is just another aircraft. It's in the air. It's regulated by CASA. If you're complying with the CASA standard operating conditions, tick. Beyond that, the only other thing in terms of how you operate that would apply is where you are taking off from, where you are landing from, and is that either your property or someone that is public property or somewhere that's a publicly accessible place that is not specifically prohibiting that. Now, I understand he didn't take off from the location where this power plant was, so no problem there. Yep. Looking at the video, I don't see any breaches of CASA regulation, so no problem there.
Yeah.
My thinking is if an aircraft, a 747 or any other aircraft can fly in that airspace and there's no no-fly zone and no TAMs or any other problem there, that should have been okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about this Critical Infrastructure Act, but it doesn't make sense to me. If anyone who's an Aussie has any info on that, I'd love to hear from you after the show. Speaking of hearing from each other after and during the show, just letting you know, we've got a facility where you can chat to each other. You can actually join a voice channel. So it's called Discord. No, this is Discord.
Right. Yep.
So right now, as you watch the show, if you go into Discord, you can go to the general voice chat room and you can talk and you can hear each other and you can comment about what we're talking about. So it's just another way of chatting about the show today. So just thought I'd share that as well.
Yeah, it is good. I got to admit though, Greg, although, I'm 100% supportive behind everything you do. I was on the Canadian Drone Network, Roger and Kim, and they're fantastic lads. They are. Yeah. And I was just, Roger is a lovely chap. And he was just saying that, man, we've got a chat in the live. To have a secondary one, which is, I guess, more private away from the live, that's all cool. But it just seems like this, where can you put your focus? You can only really sort of do a couple of things at a time. You know?
I get it, and I had to think about that. And the reason to do it was to have the voice feedback. And at some point in the future, I'm going to work out how to join the text chats together. But at the meantime, it's the only easy way of doing a voice chat where instead of typing things in, people can just talk and have a conversation. It's voice. Yes, yes.
Oh, I know. That makes a difference. That does make it. You don't have to worry about bloody typing and stuff, especially for us little one-finger typers, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on from that. So we've got our Aussie videos that we share each and every week, and it's time for them right now.
Great segment, folks. For those new guys that are in the chat there, this is a really good segment.
So let's go and play that now. So this first one here, let me just turn the audio down a little bit. There we go. So this first one here is some footage from a DJI Mavic Pro, and it was shot in the Julimar Forest. Now, the comments from Greg Hilton, thank you to Greg, by the way, for putting this together each and every week. But the comments from Greg were that photographically, he says, this is a good example of how to look around and use simple things that surround you to make something that looks good. Greg used to be a professional TV cameraman, so certainly he's got a lot of experience in this area. And he says, I can't remember how many times in the past that he's been shooting news or sport or whatever, and you get in there and you think there's nothing here. Look again. That's the difference between an average cameraman and a photographer. So this particular area, just out of interest, Julimar Forest, located just 100 kilometres from Perth CBD, so over your way, Spikey. Just an interesting thing, some four-wheel driving definitely needed if you're going to be around that area. And from there we move to the Adelaide coast, shot with a DJI Mavic Pro, Adelaide's coastline from the air. Now, look, I don't know Adelaide well enough, and I did a search of the different beaches that are in Adelaide. He didn't unfortunately put it in the description for the video, so... Okay, so... Yeah. Beautiful area, and for those certainly not from Australia, we do encourage you to come and visit Australia. We're here. Yeah. Well, if you got Spike here, what more could you want? You know, you're enough for the whole country. This one, DJI Mavic Pro. And Spike's dropped out there. He'll be back shortly. My favourite shooting over water is when you've got a zero wind day and you can get those reflections over water. I love doing that. Here's our third one. This is an interesting one. Western Sydney FPV Squad. They also call themselves the New South Wales Bando Squad, filming at abandoned locations. And they say, we're one lucky squad. We were blown away at the site manager at this location giving us permission to fly our freestyle quads at this amazing location. Pure awesomeness. They are absolutely gorgeous, yeah. What's the question? Tell me now. Yeah, so there's multiple chat rooms. There's one chat room for Mel, who's our person who puts the comments up on the screen. So that's to get to me in case of emergency. That's a little private room. But the other one is just called #general, and there's a text chat and a voice chat. So just look for that in the application. Look at this down the middle here. Oh. Go through a few of them. And you can buy some of those cameras fairly cheaply on Banggood and whatnot as well. Almost becoming disposable. Yeah, so while we're waiting for that one to finish, just a reminder for anyone who wants to share some video content with us, we want to have a look at your views of Australia, your perspective on Australia, and share that on the show. Just before the end of the show, we'll put an email address up on the screen. If you want to send something in, we'd very much appreciate it. And our last section here, actually second last I should say, this is Monk & Sons Contracting Agriculture Service. There's a couple, Therese and Nor, they're a Norwegian couple, they're touring Oz, and obviously these people asked them to do some footage. But their channel does have a lot of clips from Norway to South Africa, Madagascar, and of course Australia. Please do have a look at it. By the way, the links to all of these channels are in the description, so do check them out. This particular clip features, as I said before, Monk & Sons. It's a family business providing all sorts of agricultural contracting services across southwest Victoria, based in Cobden. Absolutely. Now, I'm sure he's got all of his permits for flying at night, but that's another story for another day. But certainly this area was named in honour of Richard Cobden. Only a small population, 1,813 a few years back. And Therese and Tor, yep. And last one, Worldwide Camp. So this is an aerial video. It's just titled Australia Aerial. All of these were taken by Worldwide Camp on the East Coast, less than 2 hours from Brisbane, featuring some Gold Coast beaches, Mount Warning, Mount Barney, and many more locations around there. Beautiful part of Australia. Yeah. I assume that was the guy flying and piloting from there. So again, just thank you to all of the people who filmed these original videos. Do go to the channel description, go to their channels, support them. At a later date, we're going to put this up as a separate clip, and to make it easy for you, you can just click on the links within the video to go and get to their channels. And that's our wonderful Explore Australia for this week. I do have one more clip, but I'm going to hold it over for next week. And instead of going with that, what I might do is go to the chat room and just see what people are talking about. We've got Mr. Graphic, great videos. Greg Hilton, it's a lady pilot. I don't know which one that was that you were talking about, Greg, but certainly, again, thanks to Greg for putting those together.
Yep, I think that was the mountain one you might be talking about, the lady that was on the edge there, as you quoted.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some awesome vids with my Phantom 4 Pro. Had an epic crash of it. Now had a Phantom 4 Pro 2.0 and got my Skidoo. I can't wait to fly it. Sounds like some fun, Drone Man. Where are you from, Drone Man? Are you from Australia or from elsewhere? What else have we got here?
I've got Bob Casey's asking, where do you go, Spike? I'm not sure what you mean, mate. Where do I go?
You keep disappearing off the screen.
Oh, that's compliments of our internet service, mate. I actually live in remote country, Australia. I have a satellite.
How far away are you from the nearest town?
The
nearest decent-sized town.
About 80 kilometres, I guess. 80 kilometres, yeah. So for me to go and get some bread and milk, I've got to do a round trip of about 40 kilometres.
Okay, and that's just the small town, but certainly, like, what is Perth the nearest capital city?
Yeah, it is, and that's probably about a 3-hour drive from where I am. So though it's remote, it's not like, you know, the central of Australia or anything like that. No, it's about 3 hours away from the coast in any direction.
Yeah. Okay. And Artco, just to answer your question, how do I win the OSMO? The answer is go to the channel page. So go to youtube.com/OzByDrone. And when you're there, the very first video you see is how to win the Osmo Mobile. It's our channel promoted video.
Get into it, guys. Yep. Another thing I'd like to say quickly before we wind up, Greg, is that thank you very much for having me on again, man. I really appreciate it. All the people in the chat, good on you guys. I'm just going to bang up a link shortly. And that's my brand new set of videos that I've been working on. So I would appreciate that support as well. And anyone that comes along and supports, of course, I will be supporting you straight back. I do that with everybody. And of course, how are the numbers going there for you, Greg?
Let's put that number. Has it gone up during the show? Let's put it back on the screen. It'll take a few moments.
I must admit, I'm a little bit behind the times. I've just joined the 1000 club myself, and I thank all of those that are supporting me. And I will be making a thank you video that's coming up soon.
Or as Ken would say, the Comma Club.
The Comma Club, yes, the comma chameleon.
Yeah, we press the button to put it back on the screen, but it doesn't want to do it for some reason. We'll try that one more time. Is it going to come up? It's like this big suspense thing. There we go. 700. Oh. What was it before? Is it the same?
I think it was 2. So you've done well, mate. You've done well.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Well done to you, Greg.
Yep. Okay, so few little community service announcements before we go. Number one, if you want to send a video, this is where you send it. Upload at gregkuhnert.com. Don't actually attach the big MP4 file. Please just send a link to your video in some social media type website. Secondly, if you could do us a favor and share out this channel, this video in social media, that would be really, really helpful. Please do put a comment on the video. That would be really helpful as well. It just helps increase the visibility. And that's about all we've got for this week.
Yeah, well done. I just noticed, was it Bob there? You just say Bob Casey, hillbilly. You got that right, mate.
What did he say?
Hillbilly.
Oh, he's talking about you.
Yeah, man. Yep. No, it's good. It's good where I am out here in the sticks. I love it. It's permanent camping. Me and my beautiful, beautiful wife, our 2 chickens. We love it, man.
Before you go, just because you can, start the truck. Oh, actually, before you do,
the keys are inside the house, man. Yeah.
Everyone loves the trike. We'll save it for another day, another time.
Yeah, we will. And I would love to do that for you. No problem. We'll blast it up in those by drone for sure.
Okay. Look, that's all for today. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please do share on Twitter, Facebook, or anything else you like. And there's our little skull face there. He wants to say goodbye.
Scully says, see you later, everyone. Ta-da.
Bye,
Hooroo.
everyone. See you next time.
Hooroo. Hooroo.
Bye for now.
Ta-da. Yee-hee.